Everyone who's never been to Breyerfest and seen the many loot videos that clutter YouTube always seem to wonder, how do people get such amazing deals at the Clarion? Oftentimes the deals are already there and are placed there by the owners of the models. But there are always those sellers who are a bit more stubborn and have models with prices just a bit too high. Now, what would one do in a situation like this? Now, before I get into the little details, a little bit of background on my own experiences with bartering. If any of you follow me on Instagram, you know that I often travel to antique stores, swap meets, flea markets, and antique fairs with my mom, who is the reason I started antiquing in the first place. Now, from my mom, the veteran antiquer, I've learned many of her tricks of the trade of how to barter and often be able to—
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
No, I'm not gonna kill people like the Godfather, but I know there's a lot of people out there who are new to Breyerfest to this sort of thing altogether, so I thought I'd give you guys a heads up of some things to know before you head out into the Clarion. I had a feeling this would be the first question on everyone's minds. Why try to go lower if the price is already perfectly acceptable? Well, when it comes to that, bartering isn't really always necessary. If you feel the price is perfect for you, then go for it. Trying to go any lower probably wouldn't get you anywhere and make the seller irritated. If the price is a perfect fit for what you're buying, then go for it. First and most importantly, do not run. Stay very calm when you go to pick up the model. People around you, including the seller, can see your excitement, and from experience, if the seller sees how badly you want that model, they may not make a deal for you simply for the fact they know they've got your number and you do and pay anything for that model, and they know it. And they know even if they stay firm on the price, it is extremely likely you will still buy it. I know it will be hard, but when you walk up, be very calm and cool and pick it up like any other model. Be almost emotionless, and sometimes you can even pretend like it's not even super interesting. Do not let them see you're excitedly screaming on the inside. When looking at a model you are interested in, pick it up immediately and do not put it down until you've made your final decision, even if you're not sure you're going to buy it yet. Now, the reasoning is if you don't claim it, someone may pick it up right from under you. I've had this happen before and it sucks. Oh, and you also don't want to put it down because if someone notices what you're looking at, they may be interested as well and wait until the split second you put it down to snatch it up. Some people may not even realize it's interesting and may compulsively buy it simply because you had looked at it and they assume you may have saw something that they didn't. I know it sounds weird, but I'm speaking completely from personal experience over the years with the Clarion and with antiquing, and have experienced every one of these things in the past, as weird as they are. It's very strange, I admit it, but some people are just like that. When you decide you want to try to make an offer, unless of course the seller makes it clear with a sign that says all prices are non-negotiable, be very sure you give the model a thorough once-over to check for any possible flaws, including rubs and shiny marks, and set it on a table nearby to check for warped legs. As well as checking for flaws, be sure you know that the general price range for that particular model, whether it be on the horse itself or not. Usually what I do, if a price sticker is not on there, I nonchalantly check eBay and model horse sales pages, but be sure the buyer doesn't notice. It sounds kind of shady, but you want to play it cool and you don't want to offend anybody. When you finally decide to make your offer, do not go super low, especially if there's a price already on the model. You don't want to go extremely low, as people will get offended if you try to really lowball them. Be polite when you ask and point out possible flaws on the model, which would justify your reasoning for asking for a reasonable deal. Be confident when you ask, not rude, just assertive. If you are buying more than one model from a seller, be sure to ask the seller if they could do a better price for you if you buy both or however many models you have from them. In every occasion that I personally have asked this question, the buyer has always cut me a deal. One even threw in an extra little classic full model with it that I wasn't even looking for. Now, I'm not saying this will always be the case, but it never hurts to ask, as the worst they can say is no, and it's not the end of the world. The best advice I can give you here is to not worry about it. If you feel the model is being sold for a ridiculous amount by a really stubborn seller, it's probably not worth it. Sometimes it is, but oftentimes you can find the same model for a better price in another room. There are a lot of hard-headed sellers out there, especially at Breyerfest, but don't let them scam you. I can understand that they are trying to make a good profit, as that's good business, but there's still a limit that they should follow. There's plenty of models out there, so don't get discouraged. After leaving that room, you may even find your holy grail somewhere else. If that is the case, you are perfectly welcome to ask the seller to hold them for you. Most times they will oblige, but only for a certain time frame, which is understandable. The time frame they'll either choose themselves, or you can ask for a particular time frame for them to hold your model. It all depends on the situation, but don't be afraid to ask. If you decide in the end you want to go back for that model, be sure you meet your time deadline. Do not keep them waiting. So those were my tips and tricks for surviving the Clarion. They've been very useful for me in the past, and I hope you guys find them helpful as well during your Breyerfest buying expeditions in the future, whether you're going to Breyerfest or not. Happy shopping, guys, and see you at Breyerfest!